let me into my zone. Please don't let me into my zone. 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 Please don't.
Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Another exciting 24 hours in the good old crypto universe as we go sideways, trendless at the 71, 7200-ish levels for the last 24 hours since we last spoke. And in fact, I do have a few things to add on to this today. I know that we spoke about kind of critical points from yesterday, but I do believe that there's a lot more to it going into today. And the ranges for the weekend actually pretty damn obvious. So with that said, I do want to talk about a few other things actually before we get into it. I want to talk about the upcoming sale for all the programs. It's going to be 20% off on the new crowntrading.net venue. Definitely check that out. It's in the link below. And of course, I'll do the full explanations for that when the time comes. But that discount will be starting, I believe, tomorrow at midnight. The 22nd or 23rd. I'll have to double check on that one. I do apologize about that. But definitely watch the videos explaining the programs. And of course, if you are even considering it, definitely take advantage of all the free content first, as there's no rush. And realistically, it's not going to be for most people anyways. We'll talk about that later. But I want to get into the next things. Also, around Christmas, we are looking to release the first iteration of the app publicly. That means that everyone's going to have access, essentially. The base function is completely free, and we are going to be releasing to all devices and all operating systems. So no worries if you're not PC master race, you will also have access to it. And it won't be full functionality at first, but we will be adding things, with each and every passing week. Really going to be consistent updates coming your way. Also, what else do we have? Yes, Jewel coming back as well during that time. Around that time, we're aiming for. Might not be exactly when the app releases. Maybe a little bit around Christmassy time and or holiday time. Got to be PC, right? Don't ban me, YouTube. No, just kidding. Happy holidays, happy Christmas, whatever the fuck you want to have in your life. Fucking have it right now, man. Doesn't take away from anyone else, I suppose. On top of that, I do want to talk about I think maybe that's everything that I want to talk about. Oh yeah, no. Sorry, that's not everything I want to talk about. I'm going to be releasing a video with good old Jackie tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Likely Monday. Explaining his psychology program. Also, we're going to talk psychology in the video as well. Got a little bit carried away during that video because we were really supposed to just be talking about the program and what it kind of looks like. Instead, we just start talking about like actual stuff. So fair enough. Keep an eye out for that if you are interested in that. If not, well, all good. And on top of that, yes, the last thing that I want to talk about, I don't even have any notes in front of my face, but I think I remembered everything right here, is no Twitch stream yesterday, but that was for good reason because I was setting up everything to do it 10 billion times better today. So I'm really looking forward to do another Twitch live stream later on today. I'll post links in the description of this video, of course. Don't feel obligated to join. It's just a live stream, kind of in the same way that we used to do them before for Bitcoin, but kind of doing multiple things at the same time. A little bit of trading on the side, a little bit of Bitcoin analysis, a little bit of gaming, a little bit of just hanging out and chilling. And I've really been enjoying that. So I want to say massive thank you to all the people coming out to that. It's been a phenomenal enjoyment, and we'll be doing it again today, and with much better equipment this time too. So I'm really excited about that. Other than that, I think it's time for me to wish you the best, and also the happiest on this very early morning from a very dark Helsinki, Finland. It's literally past 9 a.m. and it is pitch black outside. So whether you're coming back home from a very late night, dancing on all sorts of tables and drinking dirty waters, if you're over there in the Western Hemisphere, or waking up over here in the Eastern European time zone and drinking a cup of coffee, wish you the best, and let's get into the live stream right now as I press a button. And it has been once again initiated. So I'm going to start off with the star of what we spoke about yesterday. And let me just make sure we are recording. Microphone's working as well. This is great. Off to a great start, and I did it within the first few minutes. Okay, so here was a big thing that we were looking at yesterday, the 3-day close, right? The 3-day has regained the 200 simple, so I actually can't be too damn bearish here. Unfortunately, unfortunately, no, I do want to be bullish on Bitcoin longer term because, well, it just makes my life easier, really. But as far as the short to medium term, I can no longer be bearish, looking for continuation from this price point, like over this next 3-day period. Now, I do think by the same token, we do have a pretty damn set range within this region between the 200 simple, which is around 69.50, which I actually do still think that we likely come back down and test around, perhaps. But I would not be overall. I'm not overall bearish in this region with looking for continuation like today or tomorrow. I'll put it that way. I think that we're just going to be ranging most likely between 69.50 and in like 72.50ish region. And if Bitcoin, if Bitcoin does take a leg up, I would be looking for a move all the way up here towards 77.50. Now, the thing that's probably the most interesting to myself is a 2-day right here. Now, I would say that I would take back what I just said, everything about Bitcoin, and look for that trend to continue resuming to the downside if we take out this last 2-day wick to the downside, which is $7,000 even on Bitstamp, and Bitstamp was the lowest one on that one. So if Bitstamp ticks below here, that's going to be the obvious the obvious signal that we are very much likely looking lower. So just ticking below there is bad enough. Other exchanges ended, that wick was much higher. Like GDAX, for example, was 70.44.5. Mexico was 70.34, and Phoenix is going to be way up there. So, if that does happen, I would change around my opinion that Bitcoin is going to continue trending to the downside from here. But right now, I'd just be looking for a range to emerge, essentially between about that $7,000 number, and in the high of yesterday, which was actually 73, or sorry, the high of yesterday was like 72.50ish region. So fair enough. Right now, it does still look to me like we are printing a major descending triangle on the 2-day right here. Let me just actually get a fresh chart. Let's go over here to GDAX. You can see the 200 simple on the 2-day kind of providing our impetus for support. And we got all these declining tops right on over here. So both sides actually have, both sides do have kind of a case to be made here, which is why I don't really want to commit to one side over the other. Of course, if I did have to lean one side here, I would be downside just because, well, Bitcoin's been in a downtrend on all relevant time frames essentially. So I would be careful with that. And we are kind of printing a descending triangle right here, and we are below all major moving averages on especially the daily, not necessarily the 2-day or the 3-day, but it does make me think that we probably play out this region a little bit more between about $7,000 low and this declining trend line right here, which would be coming in at current price action about actually quite high, about 73.50ish region, but declining over time. And we probably break somewhere over here late December, coming in later this coming week, most likely. So I do think that Bitcoin's going to be going mostly sideways here with a slight downwards twist. I would just like to the downside, if we take out $7,000 to the downside, we probably do come all the way down here towards 69 and have a legitimate chance to break it. To the upside, I would say that any sort of a tick above this high right here that we got on that first major pump, be above 74.50ish region, I would look for extension all the way up here to the 200 exponential moving average, actually, which is 7800ish region. So that's kind of the obvious plays that I see right now. But until that happens, likely just ranging within this guy right here. Now we do have hidden bearish divergence present on the 2-day actually, with making higher high on RSI right here, oscillator, and price actions making lower high, but this has not been confirmed as a local high just yet. Again, we need to take out the low of this prior wick at 70.44.5, and then yes, I would say that this is going to be confirmed as a local high, which is also a lower high, which is also presenting hidden bearish divergence, which would likely bring us back down somewhere below like 68.50ish region, and that would likely break this whole range right here. And then we could talk about downside targets, of which this ascending triangle would have a target, I believe, and this is a little bit more of a conservative estimate here, I believe it would be in the very low 6,000s or upper 5s, about 6150, 6200ish region. So I will mark that area off on my charts right now. If we were to actually break down, that's kind of where I'd be looking for the next potential bouncy bounce. And as I've been saying, on the macro, that is actually quite close to the next major area that I'm looking towards, which is between about 5,500 and 5,700 down here. So we are starting to inch our way closer and closer to that. The thing is that this market typically doesn't move in a straight line, so it is kind of a little bit more difficult to imagine that Bitcoin's just going to fucking just fall through the floor here without providing a little bit of an upside try beforehand. But remember, all major moving averages on all higher time frames are bearish here, especially the daily. The daily is downsloped on just about every major moving average, or it is downsloped on every major moving average, even the 377 now, which is getting quite aggressive, to be fair. And we're seeing major divergence between all major moving averages from each other as all lower periods are below higher periods. It's a very, very similar setup to what we saw back on over here in 2018 in May on this rejection from $10,000, where Bitcoin got the death cross on the exponentials between the green 55 and the purple 200 right here. Then we see all lower periods move below higher periods right here. Price action moves between the 10 simple and the 21 during this consolidation, but never gets back above the 21, rejected the whole way through right here. Then we get a negative slope on the 200 simple right here. Very, very similar signature to what we're doing right now. Death cross right here, all lower periods below higher periods right here. getting wedged between the 10 simple and the 21 right here, as they all have downward slopes, and the 200 simple is starting to curl down as well. So I would be looking at that as overall majorly bearish. And as you can see, Bitcoin, as long as it's below the 21 exponential moving average, I can consider that still, I'm still biased to the downside, even though I did say yesterday that if the 3-day closed above the 200 simple, I wouldn't necessarily, I'd probably be looking for a little bit of upside. I think I'm going to be wrong on that, or I don't think that was appropriate for me to say, because to get more continuation to the upside, we really need to take out this last prior high right here, about 74.50. If that were to happen, then yes, I'd look for a move to 77.50, 78.50-ish region. So another, $400, $500 move, pretty damn, very, very tradable for sure. So I do think that is premature of me to say that, because within this region, it still have to be biased to the downside overall due to the trend on all higher time frames, even though I think what's most likely to happen here is we probably go a little bit more sideways and then figure it out later this coming week, right after Christmas. Nice little red dildo from Santa Claus to Santa Bear Claus to yours truly. Anyways, looking at momentum oscillators here, we do see daily Stokes moving up while price action has been more or less flat, and again still below all major moving averages as a 21 continues to reject. I think the 12 hours a little bit more damning on this one, as we do see 12-hour Stokes get all the way up here. Price action has done very little. To be fair, it did quite a bit right here, about $1,000 up, but no continuation this soon is why I think I'm wrong on that. On that sentiment yesterday that the 200 simple, if we close above the 200 simple, it's we very likely move to the upside. I don't believe that right now. I think that Bitcoin's still bearish here, but we probably go a little bit more sideways is what that implies. And I would only really switch that around again if we take out 74.50 to the upside. So again, premature statement on my own part, and that was just a wrong thing to be thinking there. Which fair enough. Looking at 12-hour RSI, we do have hidden bearish divergence present here as well between this point and this point, and we'll even if you want to go back as far as this point as well. But these are multi-$100s higher, while RSI is making a higher high right here and massively lower high right here. So again, it will be confirmed if we actually do confirm this as a local high, which kind of hasn't really been done just yet. I'd like to see us take out again the bottom side of this wick, which would be 70.44.5 on GDAX, 7,000 even on Stamp, and somewhere in between those on Mexico. So fair enough. But here's the thing, 12-hour Stokes getting so erect over here, has been calling these highs of the bounces pretty damn well. So if we do see any sort of downwards pressure on that, that's going to be likely the beginning of your next trending move to the downside, again, as volatility continues to expand. And volatility is continuing to expand from a region where we are where we are still holding the downtrend. I mean, it's as simple as this, really. I usually hate what's it called, non-horizontal trend lines, but it's hard to ignore this right here, man. We've been putting in all of our highs right around this trend line. It would be currently coming in around, again, 73.50 and declining over time. So as long as we're holding that, it's still a downtrend, of course. And we could use bodies as well. In fact, I'd say bodies actually work better on this one. When in doubt, or if I can, I would certainly use bodies over wicks. But both are kind of valid in their own ways. Just provides a little bit of a different edge there. So yes. Anyways, 10-hour Stokes I think are already kind of curling down right here. Yes, they are hinting at across the downside, which will be confirmed if we close here or lower in the next 2 hours and 36 minutes and 14 seconds. And I do put a lot of weight on that as well. And we see the same sort of thing here. So obviously a 10-hour and 12-hour are going to be pretty damn similar, but we get to see the actions forecasted a little bit in advance on the 10-hour. And I do think that it's at the critical mass where it does start to really matter. If you don't have a 10-hour chart on your charts, definitely add it, because it does get a lot of things right. And again, we're seeing the same expansion here, and we're maintaining the expansion as the moving average maintains that positive slope on the historical volatility percentile, and we're still maintaining the downtrend, of course, as well. So that hidden bearish divergence on the 10-hour RSI, which is present, here, and the 12-hour is actually a little more pronounced. And looking at momentum oscillators like your 10-hour Stokes, it does make you think that we probably actually do end up coming back down here. Now, we've completely forgotten the lower time frames. We haven't really talked too much about this. 4-hour Stokes down and getting rejected from the bullish control zone and holding the same trend line that we've been following for the last, I don't know, what is this, going back to the beginning of December, it looks like. So again, still holding that. And by the way, this trend line has caught all of the tops since then. The first one being this guy right here at about 75.50. The next one being this guy right here at 7,300. And then again, this guy right here. and we got the same sort of potential hidden bearish divergence in place as well. Although this one's, it's a lower time frame, it doesn't help as much. But 4-hour RSI losing the exponential, I do think that we come down in the in the lower time frames. Same thing with 3-hour, obviously a little bit more pronounced. As it is a lower time frame, 3-hour Stokes actually up, but looking a little bit tired. And yeah, fair enough. So the lower time frames got really hot on the historical volatility percentile. Now they're starting to cool down once again. So we are seeing this thing go through contraction. So what I believe this implies is that lower time frames say, hey, we're going to be contracting a little bit. Which likely leads up to a range between this guy and this guy for the next few days, maybe a week. And then the higher time frames are saying, hey, we're still hot, we're still trending. So if you look at it from a higher time frame perspective, it probably does end up just continuation of trend. Again, I would only really change that around if we actually get back above this guy right here. What's going on over here? What in the hell? Okay. All right, great. Okay, cool. Sorry. Get some very interesting messages sometimes on the good old cord. Let's see. CMEs and GBC have closed for the weekend. Let's see how they did. Let's see CMEs first, as they do hold more importance. Of course, we still have a very nasty death cross going on right here between the green 55 and the purple 200. We have a rejection of the 21 as well. It is still not confirmed necessarily as a local high, as we have not really taken out the bottom side of it. So you could say that we still maybe consolidate within this region, but yeah, actually the 4-hour looks a lot more flaggy than spot prices right now. Weekly did have a decent-ish close, kind of closing as a hammer dildo on decent volume here as well. In fact, CMEs actually kind of would say that maybe we do actually trade back up to the top side of the range, 7,700 on the higher time frames there. But a lot can happen between now and the next open for CMEs. So I'm not sure how to read this right now. As long as we're below 74.40, which is the high of the CME's last weekly high, I do think that is, I do think that, any sort of upside is stifled around that area, which is obviously meeting the same downtrend that we're looking at in lower time frames on spot and still playing within the bounds of that, essentially of the downtrend. So, it does make it more difficult to be bullish, just coming from that region right there. We do see weekly Stokes still crossing down, still gaining momentum to the downside. We see weekly Jewel right here getting continuation sell signal about a month ago, or sorry, maybe not a month ago, but yeah, well, about a month ago in late November, from your first initial sell signal in 29th of June, or sorry, this right here, early August. I apologize for that one, 12,500. So it's still telling you to hold those shorts actually, but I do think it's getting a little bit aggressive here because we did have like a $1,000 move to the downside, and that's quite significant at these price points. Anyways, okay, cool. Let's go check out GBDC. How did they end the week? In fact, GBDC is quite interesting here. So GBDC had a pretty damn good close on the weekly, I would say. Now we have the same sort of problems with major movement averages. We're still living below the 21 right here as well. But the weekly does look a lot more hammery-ish and does look like it actually does want to bounce up a bit. It does look like it has plenty of airtime here. But I would say that GBDC seems to follow spot price on the upside, but lead spot price to the downside. So I believe that that's the same signature that we've seen all throughout 2018, right? So I do think that it is a little bit. It's certainly not as good as if it was happening on spot, but it does. If I was just looking at GBDC, I would say upside from here. I actually would say upside from here. But I don't believe that GBDC leads to the upside. I believe that spot leads to the upside and GBDC leads to the downside. So, if I am just looking at GBDC, that's probably the best argument for Bitcoin likely having some upside in this next coming week. A nice little Santa Claus rally, as some people have been asking about. But I think that it's probably not good enough for me on its own. I'll go back on over here to spot price action. Let's see. Let's go check out expected range with regards to historical volatility. And we do see the first standard deviation is encompassing the range between 69.50, so the low side of our current range where that horizontal was coming in, and into the upside 73.50. So again, encompassing both of our major trend lines here on the lower time frames. Now it does suggest that the probabilities of this breaking to the downside from this region are actually a lot higher, because remember, if if we do close, especially if we close like a daily dildo below 6,900, but even if we just tick below 7,000 on stamp, for example, that is going to be good enough, in my opinion, to at the very least come back down to the low side of the range. And looking at the first standard deviation, that is very much encompassed within that $7,000 region. I mean, shit, the other exchanges are even higher than that, like 70.40 and 70.30, I believe it is for GDAX and MEX respectively. So it's actually saying that the probabilities of this breaking to the downside, again, combining this indicator, expect to move with regards to historical volatility percentile, and also just straight up TA price action, we're getting that beautiful confluence with each other. And it's still agreeing from yesterday, saying that's downside is more likely from this region. Which I really like combining these two sorts of things. It really helps, actually, especially from a trader's perspective. So again, it's actually less than 16% chance that we actually do break out to the upside from today, which again, that is the major area to the upside right here. 73, well, not even 73.50 really. It's also this high right here, which would be even less of a chance than that. It'd be probably somewhere between like 16% and 2.5%. So I don't know, cut that in half, maybe, maybe like 8% or something like that. So it's unlikely to happen today is what it's saying. It's more likely to the downside if we do have a move. But personally speaking, I do think that we just, continue ranging within this guy and probably break it out at some later date. Likely later this next week, this coming Christmas or holiday season, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Okay, cool. I see someone's actually commenting on Twitch right now. What's up, Trigger Diz? Lonely here? Yeah, man, it's a little bit lonely right now. But you know what, my friend? We'll be streaming a very long stream later tonight, which I'm really excited about, especially all this new equipment, which is really, really great. Okay, cool. So we spoke about all of that. I don't want to look at the VWAP ratio. It's still bad. Still looks like shit. Let's go look at Bitcoin dominance really quick. And I've already been doing this video for 20 minutes. Jesus Christ, man. All right, I'll probably make this one a little bit shorter. Bitcoin dominance is starting to hit that next local high, exactly where we spoke about, 70.25%. Well, actually, we got up to 70.5, which was on the weekly, which was where we were looking for. But this horizontal, getting the same area accurately. And I do think that we come down here a little bit. So very, very short term, I actually think that altcoins versus Bitcoin pairing is probably going to go up very, very short term. But longer term, I'm still very much bullish on this. I just think that this will be only that a small pullback, and then coming into next week, we probably get continuation, or if not, the week after that. Let's go look at our traditional shitcoin. Our lovely altruistic altcoins over here. And what do we see? Cardano coming down to the downside of the range, just as we spoke about, and having a little bit of a bouncy bounce. So if it bounces back up, maybe like 480, 490-ish region, that'd be fine. I don't have a strong opinion on that. You're playing against a trend here, obviously, and the Bitcoin dominance is very dominant. It is fucking dominant. It's bullish as fuck long term. Short term, very small pullback. So alt's going to benefit from that, which means that alts are probably going to come down to the downside of the range and have a little bit of a bounce off that. And guess what? Again, combining TA with different TA things here, we see that this trend line, the bottom side of the range, holding up for now. I do think that this will ultimately break, and we do come down, further south to like 440, 430-ish region. But for now, probably do bounce a little bit off this, have a little bit of a pity bounce, and then the market fun continues once again. Looking at Link is doing the same sort of thing. Comes all the way down to major support, probably going to bounce up here. I would look for, maybe like 28,000, maybe even like 29,000 if things get crazy. But same sort of idea. What else do we have? What about Mr. Buterol versus Bitcoin? Not so much of a bounce just yet. Not so much of a bounce, to be fair. In fact, this one's certainly more on the bear side. The weekly is just absolutely atrocious. This is horrific, is what this is. This is terrible, man. This is fucking terrible right here. So, does it bounce back up? Maybe even bounce back up like 1,900,000 Satoshis, something like that. But overall, it's ugly as fuck. It's disgusting. Vitalik Buterin is just amazing. He's a great person, and he would definitely not dump 80,000 Buterals on your face at the top of the Ethereum bull run in 2017. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Actually, he did. And he will tell you that himself, which is great for transparency. But unlike Charlie Lee, he told you about 2 years later, not at the time of that sell. Anyways, looking at Litecoin, same sort of thing down here. I do think that it has a little bit lower to go, but probably plays out a little bit of a pity bounce here, maybe back up to like 57 or 570,000 Satoshis, something like that. Most of these things look absolutely garbage, but Stellar probably due for a little bit of a pity bounce, maybe back up to like 680 region. Monero, what's Monero doing? Oh my God, continuation. Looks like it wants to continue down to 634,000. But again, these things move together, right? And we'll do Ripple as well. Ripple looks like it wants to have a pity bounce as well, maybe back up to like 2,800. But overall, there's no excuses for a chart that looks like this. Weekly death cross. I rest my case. Pretty fucking bad, man. Not only that, but we do see probably momentum oscillators. Oh my God. I have to be a little bit quiet right now. Elsa's sleeping. Getting rejected from the same area that's called all the highs of the rally since not even since 2017, since 2016. This high right here was one. This next high right here before moving down was the next one. This next turn down right here called this major move down. This next turn down right here called all of this down. This next turn down right here from the same area called all of this down. And once again, look at this. Price action is much, much lower than all of these prior highs. It's over here now, and we're just starting to turn down, really. Bullish. No. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Let's go check out traditional markets really quick. Oh my God, are they still bullish? We've been bullish on this one for a while, and I'd still be bullish on it. I just see no reason to not be bullish on the traditional stock market except for like small short-term pullbacks and shakeouts. And because the weekly close so strong, we can actually once again move up the critical area of caution back up to this region right here, about 318 and a quarter. As long as we're above there, no reason to not be bullish. And I would say that now this point at 315, no longer 310, is kind of like the more critical point. That as long as we hold, just macro bullish essentially. Weekly had a phenomenal close. Monthly is probably gonna have a phenomenal close as well. Again, this is not just from a technical analysis standpoint bullish. It's also fundamentally bullish as well. The repo markets are fucking repurchasing and injecting, not tens of billions, but like $50 billion a day or something like that, something crazy like that. If you're bearish on traditional markets, you're caught up in some sort of romantic idea about them. They can force these things up for quite some time. Been saying this for a while. A lot of people looking for traditional markets to absolutely crumble, because Bitcoin goes to the moon and then traditional markets crumble. Probably not. If anything, strong traditional market is gonna save Bitcoin from its downside displeasures right now. Speaking of, I won't go too much into detail on long-term analysis because I'll save that for tomorrow. But I do think that it's appropriate to once again go to the monthly here and say, hey, monthly Stokes rejected from bullish control zone, down. Monthly RSI rejected from bullish control zone, down, losing the exponential along the way. Probably going to come back down and test around the bearish control zone as we teeter along the yellow 20-minute exponential moving average and getting rejected, not even from testing the 10 simple up over here. So longer term, I'd have to say that the RSI especially does not look too good to me. Not only that, but the 21 exponential moving average on the monthly is a critical area to hold up. Now, of course, we got another 10 days until the end of December, so a lot can happen between now and end of December. But if I should first explain, the 20-minute exponential moving average is what I use in traditional markets when I was a market maker, authorized trader on the floor of New York Stock Exchange, ARCA, to judge equities if they're generally bullish, generally bearish over the long term. If you're above it, generally bullish; below it, generally bearish. You can see it works actually okay for Bitcoin, even though it is on the younger side. I'd want like another 5 years of history here, but above it over here, good. Breaks it over here, bad. Over here, good. Breaks it over here, bad. Over here, good. You get the idea. Anyways, if we do break below it, I really will start to dig into those lower targets. 5,500 becomes extremely likely, and I would still actually say that 4,500 is certainly on the menu and with a much higher probability. So with that said, keep your eyes on that. Of course, a lot can happen between now and the end of the month. And right now we're technically above it. It is at 70.89. So just a little bit above it, about $40 above it right now, which is like a sneeze on a fucking Monday morning for Bitcoin. It's nothing. It can change at a moment's notice. So I think I've covered most of the things that I want to talk about here. I suppose we can go a little bit more over the beautiful altcoins, the lovely altcoins that everyone loves. We can go over Mr. Buteral first. This is Buteral versus dollar. Looks very, very nasty here on the lower time frames. Looks like this flag, it's not a flag, it's fucking breaking down. Even the 4 hour looks like it's about to push off. Looks like it wants to come back down to like 124.5. On the lower time frames, weekly is kind of more in a bounce area. So while it does look like it wants to head back down to the low side of the range, I don't think that it actually like breaks to new lows from here. At least like today or tomorrow. 12 hours pretty nasty as well. Jesus Christ, man, this one can't catch a break. What about Mrs. Litecoin? Wow, same thing pretty much. But Mrs. Litecoin a little bit more obvious. 39.45, the critical area. As long as we're above there, I do think that it does have a chance to actually pop back up to 41.5. But the second that we lose 39.45, I'd be looking for a move back down to like 38. bucks even. Again, weekly over here in a bouncy bounce area, still bearish, but in a bouncy bounce area, to be fair. And lower time frames like a 4 hour. I'm sure bulls are calling this a bull flag. I call it a bullshit flag. You don't want your bull flag making lower fucking highs in a downtrend like this, typically speaking. As momentum oscillators are turning down once again. Let's see what else we got. Stellar, what Stellar Rumen's doing over here. Pretty much the same thing. Everything in this market's going to follow Bitcoin for the most part. There's going to be a few outliers here and there, as you probably know. If Bitcoin moves up here, you'll probably see Stellar move up to like almost 5 cents, maybe 5 cents. If it moves down, it probably moves down to like 4.3. And this goes for all of them. Bitcoin pretty much supersedes them all. It defines the trajectory. Monero looks very bearish here, just currently down, getting sold off immediately as it tries to pop up. I mean, the altcoins are looking more bearish. Remember, this market typically does move together. So if we do see more altcoins suggesting downside rather than upside, I would say that again gooses the odds in the favor of the bears here for Bitcoin as well. And Monero would certainly be on that side. Ripple would be on the other side, actually. Ripple actually kind of looks like it wants to pop back up to 20 cents, 20 and a quarter. Let's see, EOS, what are you doing? Being held pretty hard. I'd have to say EOS is more on the bear side. The bears are very strong here. What about NEO? Same thing, more on the bear side, but actually this one's more neutral than anything. Tron, what's Tron doing? More on the bear side as well, below all major moving averages on daily. What about a 4 hour? 4 hours, okay, maybe descending triangle here. I'd say neutral. Cut it right there in the middle. Bcash, still bearish, but Zcash, very bearish, probably coming back down to the low side of the range, 27 bucks. BNB. So at best, most alts look like they want to go sideways, and at worst, most of them look like they want to come back down to the low side of their ranges. So I would say that, again, the market in general looks more bearish, which puts more odds in the favor of Bitcoin breaking the downside. Because I would say that Bitcoin here is, in the neutral-ish area as well, as far as like the very short term, but medium long term still bearish here. So still have a few issues with that, but let's start to wrap this bitch up, because realistically, I don't have I don't think that we get like a huge major move in price action today. The biggest move that I'd see is like maybe a move down to like 6,900 or 6,950 in this region here, or maybe move up here towards 7350-ish region. But until we actually break one of those guys, we don't really have like another strong trending move, and it's just rangy activity. I think that we'll bounce probably somewhere down around here, or we'll pull back somewhere right around here, depending upon which one gets hit first. It looks like the downside is more likely right now, as momentum oscillators start to get tired on just about every time frame, in fact, up to like the higher ones, of course. But for the weekend action, that probably aligns with likely a pullback and a bounce somewhere around the low side of the range. In Bitcoin's case, somewhere between like 6,950 and 6,900 even. And to the upside, I wouldn't really look for any extended upside until we get back above 74.50 on Stamp or GDAX, or Mexico as well. It's all the same, really. If we get back above there, then yes, I would look for extension up to about 7,800-ish region, give or take. For now, Bitcoin probably mostly sideways and down after some up, some sideways and up. So I do feel like we've gotten this one pretty damn well. And right now I'm positionless. I might take a little bit of a short scalp later, but I also might just want to enjoy my Saturday and eat a shit ton of food soon. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll probably start to cut this video off right there, because I think this is a good mark. About 33 minutes. It's one of my shorter ones. Kind of cool. Okay, cool. So yeah, as far as that goes, range is pretty much set. I think that mostly we probably just go sideways and down here, test the downside of the range, and probably don't break it this weekend. I do think that if a break happens, it probably happens somewhere over here. And of course, for the long term, if we were to break it, the next target to the downside would be, well, the obvious target is right down around our prior low at about 6,500. But realistically, the measured move on this baby would be pointing all the way down towards about 6,150, 6,200-ish region. So I think that will probably do it for now. Anyways, as always, wish you the best of the best here from very, very dark and also cold and rainy Helsinki, Finland. I'll be back on Twitch later. Link will be in the description of this video. Feel free to join. It's been a really fun time recently. So yeah, take care, and until next time.